Come on. Come on. Yes! We have a proper barbecue here. Wow. Are you kidding me? Is it not gonna burn in 2 holes? Thanks to all of that heavy armor, the intensity is now worse than it was before.
It's your host Gmodism here, and we're back for some more missile testings. Gmodism.
So this is a little bit insane, but you know, I wanted to make a larger missile, and it's hard to navigate this missile through build mode. You have to go out in like boosted camera movement mode. I've also made it so that my fast speed camera is faster than most people, and that's really needed here. This missile is about 2 kilometers long. Great. And as you can see here on this little missile piece, it contains a lot of things. So the thing is, I thought that how should we make this missile actually be functional? Because obviously we're sacrificing too much materials, making it maneuverable and get to the target. So obviously I thought we'll just have to make it a cluster missile. A cluster missile, you say, yes, but a huge missile can also carry another huge missile. This is why we are going to do basically a 3-stage rocket. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's how we're going to get away with having such a long missile. We're gonna have missiles within missiles within missiles. This time we're gonna test 3-stage rockets, I think. So we're gonna have one launch unit getting it out in space, basically, and turning it towards approximately the direction. Then we're gonna have a long boy just going there and dealing, you know, just chilling out and going towards the target. Possibly having some distractions and stuff, and then we're going to have a payload. But firstly, we need to test the launch system. You can see it takes some time doing this, man. This is like, yeah, this is a lot. We're gonna save this missile here, long boy, and now we can see we have 1,000, oh damn, 1,032 parts, and each part is 2 meters. So yeah, we are 2,064 meters long then, this missile. 2 kilometers in short. Very nice. I thought that it was a smart idea to this time build this structure platform on our very cheap little building platform, because it doesn't require any floating in the sky, and yeah, it's just much easier. So also we can launch them from the bottom of the sea, which is probably wise since we need that extra depth, since you know, it's already kind of long and it's sticking out and can be shot at. And some of you said that I should probably make the missile instead point at the enemy directly from a turret. But if we have a turret this long, we might get into some unforeseen lag issues and weird stuff happening. Also, it's not cool. We want a vertical launch missile. Obviously we want that. So my solution is a 3-stage rocket, and the direct fire missile that will come in a later video. I don't want to reveal what it is right now, but I have a pretty darn good idea, which I alluded to in the last episode about this. So more about that later. Anyways, it's taken so much time already. I haven't set it up yet really. Here we have the variable thruster. We have the max start delay and stuff like that to make it chill out a little bit. We're gonna have turning thrusters, fins, fuel tanks. Then we basically have so many cluster extensions. I haven't added them all. I will need to add the rest of them. And yeah, approximately I'll need to click about 1,000 times. So this is why this has taken so long. I may use copy-paste tool as well, but we can only copy 100 meters, which would be 50 modules. So it's only like 50 clicks. I'm not sure how much time we save. I did set up a lot of them with Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish this thing and fill up with cluster extensions. So we basically can copy this missile over to the other one and then set up the carrier for the payload, basically. So the payload missiles are gonna be a little bit different, but yeah, hopefully this works. I actually have no idea if it will, but we'll see. Like, obviously it will work, but I never tried making these long cluster missiles, you know, like a proper 3-stage rocket. Pretty realism style, so that's what I mean. Anyways, why don't the missile system have a fill to head function like APS? That would have been so useful.
Probably because they want to discourage people like me.
Alright, so 2 hours later, basically. I've clicked a lot of times and we now have cluster extensions to the tip. We are now having a container volume, which is pretty large. And I wonder how many marauders we can fit in there. Maybe we should calculate that. We have the Maruler, so we can easily calculate that. Anyways, 2 meters per module. Cool. So we have a lot of them in this container. We can have almost a kilometer missile, 2 kilometer missile inside, obviously. I also added sticky flares. That's completely useless. I just made them drop different stuff, so hopefully it will look cool. I want it to be a little bit more cinematic launch. We'll have to think about that. We have a 1 turn. We got turning thruster fin, active radar seeking. Pretty standard stuff. This is like carrying no payload. It doesn't have anything interesting on this thing. It's just to get up there and aim towards the enemy. Then I don't play around with this too much, but the ejection elevation could be useful to have. So I'm gonna set this to 90. I'm gonna see what happens if we can basically work this as a type of 1-turn system. I don't know how the turning will look like when we have a large missile like this. So that's basically what our setup is right now. I accidentally put them back to back, so I moved this one up a notch to be able to have the full array of ejectors around this thing, because obviously we need that extra speed. We need all the extra speed we can get for a faster launch. This is going to be a cluster missile, of course, but to not redo all this work, we're basically, I forgot, I need to go out in speed mode. We're basically going to copy over the missile we set up to this part. So we should be able to just click copy to all matching launch pads. And we should then be able to basically use this thing. Yeah, man. Wow, like the cost of launching one of this missile is like more expensive than most in-game crafts. Yeah, so, and that's only one of them. This is gonna be a cluster missile, so it's gonna be like 4 times of that. Oh man. All right, so to see some stats and see if we can fit this thing, we're just gonna go down here and we're gonna add a cluster ejector, so it can be carried. Then we can see that this is, how long is this thing? Oh, yeah. So now we can see basically how long it is. We are obviously too long. We're 2062 long, and we need to be going down to 1926 long only. Very small missile. Yeah, so we're just gonna remove some parts here and see if we can get down to that length. Oh, it's a while more. It's a while more. Oh well. Right, finally. So I swapped this up a little bit and changed it so the container length is 1984 because I thought that was funny. Then we made this so that it... wait, wrong missile. Right, now we made this thing. So we have a container length required of 1984. Great. I was just thinking a little bit, and I thought perhaps we should have a middle stage rocket that has short range thrusters, but I realized that it only burns for 5 seconds and it only gives us a speed of 16 meters per second. So we could possibly add such a middle stage, but honestly, I don't think it's really useful. We should probably have it be like maxed out just normal thrusters, so it can actually burn for some time, because this won't cut it basically. Maybe for a later stage, maybe it will be more than a 3-stage rocket, I don't know. Anyways, we cut off some parts here, so obviously we need to set this thing up. But before we do too much of that, we need to obviously run some kind of test. So we're gonna have an active radar seeker onto this, and just some symbolic explosives here. The cluster extensions won't be doing much since we don't have a extra thing to carry. The cluster ejector, however, we'll need to set that up. Speed inheritance, make sure it's 1. I wonder if we can kind of make it inherit the speed when it's launching. That could be interesting. Huh. I suspect that won't really work, because as soon as it left the launch pad, it gets real slow, right? Yeah, well, drag and stuff. And gravity, of course. Alright then. This should be absolutely fine. I suspect, however, we need to set up this little thing to distance to target. 1000 meters is close enough. Or possibly we're gonna release it after some time. So the missile we're launching from lives 80 seconds. So maybe like 60 seconds. After a minute, it should probably drop. And it should be same level only, right? So it can only launch the huge one in case we add some smaller payloads later on for distraction and whatnot. Okay, I think we should save this thing. And before we launch, we're gonna deco this thing a little bit. So somebody told me on Reddit that I should use boat propellers, or propellers, I think. And I think we discussed, and it was actually the propeller hub we used in the last video. But I was thinking, or they actually meant propellers, but stretched. So this is boat propellers. I was just thinking, I'm gonna test some different propellers and see if we can make some type of funny missile with just a propeller part. They look so stupid. This is weird. Here we have the trusty propeller hub. That looks nice. We're gonna see how this looks like. Model length. We can disable this thing. Model diameter, yeah, okay. So we're gonna see how we can make this thing look. We're just going to select this thing to be on this decorator. There we go. How does it look now? Oh, did it disappear? I was like wondering, why is nothing happening? Then I realized it was happening. It was just happening too much above me. So yeah, we need to play around some with model length and stuff. This is kind of hard. It's just the tiniest motion and it just snaps real hard, but you can of course change stuff there. Anyways, but I do really appreciate that we can do this type of stuff in this game. Like, man, look at this. We can just zoom out and scale this thing to be approximately 2 kilometers, as you would. So that's pretty nice. All right, so we have a missile model. It's time to launch, I believe. All right, there we are. Let's indeed make it launch. Oh! Oh no! It feels like it didn't use the ejectors there. Oh no, okay. Right, so it only launches it a little bit differently from... Okay, so that ain't great. Right, so we're gonna fix that angle. That angle obviously probably broke the entire system. Look, it doesn't even... I don't think this can reach space anymore. Yeah. I'm gonna try a relaunch. So, yeah, see you soon. Here we have it, ejection elevation. Set that to 0 again then. I feel that it has been closing in a little bit here. Anyways, try 2. We have a straight launch. Man, what's the game speed here? It's full speed, it's just slow. Or we're just having really big, zoomed out stuff here. Well, I don't know how much the ejectors help, but it's definitely going out of here. Okay. It's now going upwards at least, so it's better than before. We can absolutely get to space. And inside here, I hope the 1 turn will try and kick in. Oh, did we lose? Do we have no more thrust? We possibly ran out of thrust. Wait, what? I think the missile died. I made it a tad bit longer. We obviously need more fuel tanks and more turning abilities, so probably wise idea. I removed the sticky flares. I feel they probably don't do much, right? So, okay, hopefully this works. And by the way, if you want to test stuff like this is how you do. You go into C menu, you turn on God mode, and you turn off firing ability. Then you can go in here and you can spawn your foe of choice. And when everything is spawned and ready, you'll just go in here and turn on the firing mechanism. Alright then. 2-stage rocket. Let's go here. See if we can reach the target. At least it's pretty far away, but man, it's moving fast comparatively to this missile. Okay, so we upped the thrust a little bit, but I fear it may still not be enough. We may actually need to shorten the carried missile because I suspect we need more maneuverability on this system. What could possibly be done as well is making this missile tower actually launch in an angle. If we launched it at 45 degrees, we would immensely increase its, like, I don't know. We could make it smaller and easier to work with, basically. It's a little bit worrying that it shoots down the missile here. I think I want to turn off its guns, perhaps. I feel like it's not going towards the target and now it just despawns. Okay then, so obviously radar seeking won't work here. I think we'll have to... I think we'll have to do remote guidance instead then. Which I just realized is probably for the better. Because the health of this missile probably increase a little bit with the thumper head, but the speed, it gets a little bit quicker. So that's something. So we can just have a little... But honestly, already now, I am going to shorten down the missile a little bit. No, we're not going to shorten down any missile. We're going to make it longer. We're going to make it longer, of course. Why wouldn't we? So I'm going to make it a little bit more maneuverable and a little longer. So I'm just going to add more fins here in the back, as you might suspect. Okay, so I'll just do that and see you soon. It's like when you're working with large missiles like this, you kind of forget that it's not modules, it's basically pages of modules that count. So we're gonna add some pages of fins here. The fuel tanks, 1-turn thrusters and stuff like that can be set up here. We can put in a little remote guidance. I suspect that it might be still useful with some prediction guidance. We're gonna have that too. And I still want my sticky flare. All right. Oh, while we're here, you may notice I put the fins and turning thrusters in the very tip of the missile. And that's basically because the further away from the center of mass, the COM, so to say, the stronger the effect of the turning thrusters or fin will be, if you didn't know that. Now, I do suspect that we are reaching an altitude that's so high that many of these fins probably don't work very well, since fins and stuff, it has aerodynamics, this game, so some stuff may not work in space or doesn't work in space, right? So it can be good to know. But I still think they might help a little bit with the one turn anyways, because if I recall correctly, you need fins to use one turn. All right, we're gonna see if that's gonna be enough with fins. We have enough fuel tanks, maybe. We may need to do it even longer, but we shall see indeed. And if I failed to show you this last time, I don't remember if it made a cut, but putting this in and out of play will automatically insta-reload the missiles, which is a big time saver for me. And you, probably. I don't know. All right then, we are ready to launch. Here we go. Missile is being launched. And I want to take this time to say huge thanks to our commissioned officers in the army of Gmodism: Commodore Owen, Captain Sebastian Dode, Captain Shiro, Commander Morden, our lieutenants Anto, Cravey, Drew Candobetta, Flaws Dagon, Powered by Greed, Vincent Veritas, Rick Prell, and Scooby Rocks. Thanks a lot for supporting the channel every month. And also huge thanks to all our cadets, of course, and to everyone in the Ecclesiarchy of Gmodism as YouTube members. Your continuous support helps a lot. And we are hopefully starting to turn soon. I hope I really put in enough fuel this time. But I suspect we might need even more fuel. It's possible... Oh, there's the flare. Look at that. It's supposed to drop soon, though. It didn't seem to be doing its post-ignition drop. Alright, so our 2-kilometer missile, man, this is much longer than last time, is soon reaching the end of the launch pad. No, it got killed. No, it probably didn't get killed. It probably just took longer than 80 seconds, right? I'm sacrificing my sticky flare again for a regulator. Apparently. Okay. Alright. I just added a regulator, as you know, and this will make it survive longer than 80 seconds. But yeah, we'll see if it will. Having a pretty decent little overall perspective here. Well, I really doubt this will be useful in any type of useful situation, but I kinda want to have the largest missile, the largest 3-stage, compensating for something, having the largest 3-stage rocket on Steam Workshop. That would be fun. Okay, since we talked a little bit about the space thing, please, if anyone of you watching know, you can tell me in the comments, but I suspect that perhaps all of these fins are pretty useless. Maybe we're so high now, 2 kilometers up in the air, maybe we only can use turning thrusters anyways. That might be very possible and something we'll have to investigate. It kinda looks a little bit like we don't have any thrust left, does it? Which is very worrying, but it's going decently fast still. Oh no! It drops! Oh, bam! It drops hard! I wonder if we can do like actual kinetic like rods from God. Maybe if we launch them high enough, we can make them just go down by but like falling down. That could be absolutely crazy. Huh. Alright. Alright. Well, I need to redesign this thing a little bit, obviously, so I'm gonna remove fins, I'm gonna add turning thrusters, and a whole lot of fuel. On another note, I have been finally had the time to work and go through and fix all the different icons and badges for the Army of Gmodism, which will be hosted on our own webpage later, so that's why they have these smart names. And basically, they can then be used in from the depth like we did before, because you probably heard me say and slash complain that my Imgur account got attacked or whatever. Anyways, here is all of the different icons and badges and stuff like that. You can see we have a lot of cool ones coming in there. So I really hope people will find these very stylish and cool looking on future Army of Gmodism builds, and of course for challenges and stuff like that if folk want to participate in all of that. So you'll see them on vehicles near you very soon indeed. I'm pretty happy with it, at least. Well, say what you think in the comments. And I realized I may have gone overboard a little bit and made too many of them, but sometimes when I start making something, I make it really properly, and I'm sorry, that's why it takes so long time, a lot of the time at least. Alright, so I set up some stuff here, and I just realized that I didn't have a complete hang of the math here, so I got the calculator and calculated basically how long we can use this thrusters, and it turns out it's below 15 seconds even now. So it's not exactly great, but our turning rate is, well, it's pretty decent, I feel like. It's like 1 degree per second, and it doesn't matter for altitude when it comes to the turning thrusters. So hopefully 1 degree per second will be enough. As you can see, before I have grossly underestimated the amount of required fuel, as you can clearly see. Now we also have the remote guidance, so hopefully that will be very helpful indeed. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure one turn is really usable here. It's possible that it might just add confusion to what's happening, like an extra variable we don't really need. So I'm going to remove the one turn and make sure that the remote guidance is being activated instantly, basically, which is somewhere, yeah. Remote guidance is going to be activated instantly, just like that. Very nice indeed. All turning thrusters kick in after 10 seconds exactly. All right, time to test. Let's go. So, missile is being launched, and now I didn't calculate the exact thrust amount, but obviously I think it may still be too little. Look at that, down here we have them now. Well, interesting. Then we can clearly see when they are burning or not. Obviously the turning thrusters won't do much before we exited the launch pad here. They have an activation delay of 10 seconds set, all of them. But obviously they want to do their thing, which is a little bit unfortunate because they burn fuel like crazy. Like the thrust can go for 500 seconds, which is a long time. That's like many minutes. But, oh no, look at that. I think they wasted, I think they already wasted the fuel. That was so fast. So we have an issue here that we're trying to launch this missile, but it's so slow at launching because it's so slow that the turning thrusters won't even activate. Yeah, that's actually a big issue. This means that even though the fins will absolutely suck at this altitude, we probably need to use the fins to launch anyways. Because we can't rely on turning thrusters. Like we have a well still. We haven't even launched from the launch pad yet. So I want to see what happens when it gets out of the launch pad. Obviously, we have no more fuel for the turning thrusters. Man, this is fast. I wonder if there's a speed limit for how fast missiles can get when they're falling. That will be a future test probably, but man, look, it looks like it launches again, but it doesn't. It's just buoyant. It's gonna bounce here for a while. Now, since we are underwater for some time, I'm not sure it's possible that a variable thruster may not work very well. We could possibly try and help this by adding a little secondary torpedo propeller here. Maybe that will help. But yeah, so all the effort with the turning thrusters And yeah, probably it's just a waste of time. We are going to exchange it all for a lot of fins and try again. This is kind of cool. When we added that secondary torpedo propeller, we got a lot of free lifetime. So now we can be 320 seconds instead. So torpedoes live longer because they're slower, so that's a little bit cool. This means we can remove the regulator we added. Here we have a little regulator. And just have a fuel tank instead. So we basically have a free regulator built into the secondary torpedo propeller. I'm not sure if there is any downside of using it. I don't think there is. But anyways, that's cool. So let's try again. For the like 20th time. We are launching. Alright, it will be highly interesting to see how we're doing this time. Looks like the missile deco gets placed on different spots at different times. Alright, let's just make sure we actually have a target and stuff here. We're tracking one. Alright. Nice. Missile is going up here. I suspect the thrusters will be having an abysmal turn rate at this altitude, if any. Man, that's not good. It may have been that 1 kilometer long missiles is basically like the limit if we want to have a vertical launch missile. We're really testing its limits here. I think it's... if we can make a 2 kilometer long missile work, that's definitely worth the upload. Of course, it's gonna be silly huge and look real funny and stuff like that, but we first need to test the concept. And that you are here for if you're watching this video. All right, so we can thrust for about as long as we can be alive on this missile. By the way, since we're here in space, I never got really into Kerbal Space Program. I want to try it out, but I also didn't really get into Space Engineers. And that I want to get into when Space Engineer 2 drops. Look at that. That ain't too shabby. Yeah. That's fine. That's actually not too slow. Look at that! Ladies and gentlemen, the missile is turning. It's like an hour of recording for making the missile turn. Well, that's progress. So, turning thrusters, goodbye. That won't work. We'll need to rely on fins. Obviously, we need more thrust time, and that 160 seconds apparently wasn't enough. So, yeah, let's try again. It would be nice to be able to have turning thrusters activate now. The thing we could do this with is if we have turning thrusters on the carrier missile. So the missile that this thing is carrying, you know, could have turning thrusters, and they could activate when we are in space instead of when we're on the launch pad. So it could be possible that we could have a cluster stage that basically launches or activates just after we exited the launch pad. Like now, we could have probably a new missile. Yeah, but also if we make it shorter every time, we have the added bonus of making it faster and more maneuverable, because the longer it is, the harder it will be for it. The glorious launch for the 2011th time. Well, it's very interesting to see though. I think that at least, but I don't know about you. Well, see you at the zenith, it's called, right? Zenith of the missile trajectory. Learning words, or just forgetting more and more words every day. Oh, just a little message for all our commissioned officers here. I'm sorry about it taking so long to update the downloadable files, but If you missed that, the reason for this is, of course, that I made all these new decals. I made a little bit more of them than I probably should have, but I made that because I'm going to move them to a self-hosting anyways. So I wanted to have like all of the new decals ready to go when that's launched. So basically, I'm working on the new homepage on my free time. And when the homepage is done and all the images is hosted and stuff like that, I will be very willing and able to finally upgrade all the vehicles, prefabs and turrets so that I can then upload them, if you wonder that. Anyways, we need to keep our eyes very close here to what's happening, because I'm wondering how many seconds may had it been, I wonder. We can actually do measure that. The launch pad has a calculation. We can also see when this guy gets automatically removed. We reload in 480 seconds. All right, quick calculator. 480 and time until launch 325. 155. It should have been launched very just now, basically. Oh, I will be so sad if it doesn't launch. I don't know. It may be possible that cluster missiles don't work at all on this scale, but if that's the case, I probably won't upload this video, so then you don't hear that. Anyways, yeah. Anyways. So now all units stopped working. We may have broken the game or something, so we'll have to restart the game. It's broken. So I finally found what the issue was. Sometimes when you're trying to make cluster missiles, they act up really weird. So that even if it looks like they should be able to carry the payload you have, you may see it might require 184 meters. And your payload might be 184. And it might not still be enough, but if you shorten down the payload by just a little bit, like 2 meters, they started to carry. Yeah, that seemed to have been the issue. And I also had to restart the game because it was really bugged. It didn't even carry the tiny ones. So I don't know what happened there. Anyways, I got a new super cool idea, which I just realized we'll have to take a look at. Say hello to my extra testing area. This is now about floaty missiles. So, on this side, you can see we have fins, fuel tanks, reinforced bodies, blah, 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 and we have ballast tanks. And these ballast tanks, you can see it's mostly reinforced bodies, but we have some ballast tanks. You can see they are set to 0.5, which is like most floatiness. And on this side, we have fin, ballast tank, and so forth. But the entire like front is covered in ballast tanks also. So we have like more ballast tanks. So we know that if we have a missile which have ballast tanks, it's going to, of course, reach the surface faster. But if we have more floatiness, like in this case, we have like some here in the back and some in the front, and in this one we only have some in the back, will it be a measurable difference? Can you see? Oh my god. What happened with our camera? Alright, we just teleported to space. And this thing just killed itself out of lag. Let's load that again. Okay, here we have it again. You can see this one just launched so much faster. Now they destroy themselves again. Very annoying. But essentially, if we have more floatiness, it will reach the surface faster. And this is really interesting. You can see they don't even have thrusters.
So if we add like, let's just add a short range thruster to have something. When we just get onto the structure and just fire these, you can see it reaches the surface a good bit faster, which leads us to reach much further up into the air. So I was figuring, if we are adding some ballast tanks onto this missile, what will happen then? Will we be able to launch it faster because the part that is underwater will basically fly up in the air? So as you can see with this test, a lot of the floatiness was in the front, so I did some tests and it seems that it doesn't matter if it's in the back or in the front. Just having more ballast tanks will make it more floaty, and that basically means success. So, if we are going to get onto this little thing, and we're just going to, let's just spawn an enemy here. I'm gonna spawn one really far away. Like more than 5,000 meters, we just went some time away here. And yeah, we are indeed. So we can see the missile reached up into, yeah, above the water surface. I did test a shot of camera, and it does fly faster the initial like time, so it actually works. You're gonna see it later on the next little what to say, like tech progress. You may hear that my voice is a little bit weird, and that is because if you've seen YouTube posts, the posts page, you'll know that I caught some cold, which is basically well now, and that you can't tell by listening to my voice, but trust me, it's fine. Oh no. Yeah, we're kind of releasing the missiles a little bit too early here. It doesn't even detach its... Yeah, now we have a little bit too fast launching sequence. You can see the insane sideways thrust. Very crazy. But yeah, having ballast tanks... the one thing that's really cool with ballast tanks, by the way, is you can see here, fuel tank. If we instead set the ballast tank here, no, ballast tank, you can see it has a free internal volume of 99.9. So we can basically swap them out for fuel tanks. Anyways, this mess doesn't really work very well. Our 2-kilometer missiles are not quite there. So let me show you a little iteration upgrade tech thing I have secretly prepared while battling this cold. Or flu, I guess it is, whatever. Welcome to my crazy cluster world. So in this little iteration of the missile, that's funny, the first missile basically doesn't have any fins. It just goes straight up. We got ballast tanks. For the love of everything, we basically only got ballast tanks, some regulator, cluster extensions, stuff like that, to be able to release the next stage. And the next stage is basically turning thrusters, like only. So it's gonna turn. And then we kind of have a cruise missile thing that slowly goes towards the enemy without any payload, basically. Which will finally then deliver this payload piece here. So let's see how it looks like. And it has an enormous amount of incendiary, of course. So, buckle up. A stronghold has been spawned. Do you see that speed? The first 500 meters of the missiles is just instantly ejected. And it just goes straight up. And around here, the speed is like slowing down, so that's a little bit disappointing. But man, I really enjoyed that first insanity burst of like having those ballast tanks is really a game changer. Really get up into the air so much faster. All right, I have, yeah, okay, good. So, It of course takes some time, but let us see how this thing is performing. And we are closing in on the last thing here. And I set the drop time to really far. So it's a little bit annoying, but you can see this thing has already launched. This is the steering mechanism. So this now tries to turn and steer towards the enemy. And unfortunately, it already released the cruise missile, and I tried for so long time to make it not release early, and I could not figure out what was the problem. Because of course, we want this thing to use its turning thrusters and all that stored fuel to be able to do 90-degree turn before we release this cruise version that can carry the payload. So that was a little bit annoying that it just kept releasing, and I could not figure out why this was happening. I have finally reached the answer. Yeah, now I know. But we're gonna check out the next little iteration of my insanity project to try and make this work. Now this even despawned because they are not alive for more than 80 seconds, because they're just a delivery system basically. Yeah. So it turns out like this. When we're trying to build here, we have on the cluster controller, wherever that is, here it is, you can see that the drop altitude, 2,600, you can drag that like up. And if you make it 0, it's not infinite, it's like 0 meters above water. So we have a little issue here with the drop altitude. I wonder what happens if we reverse them. I haven't actually tried to reverse these. That could honestly be a solution. Huh, I never thought of that. Damn. Well, anyways, what I did think about is that what if we basically put this thing on a big turret? And when I mean like big turret, I mean like, some of you suggested this before, but I wanted to have a VLM system for the coolness. And I was worried that having a turret like this big would kind of lag and stuff. But, you know, it already lags so much and it doesn't work. So I thought I'll have to do that. So I basically copied this thing over in sections, and you can see I had to paint it all, and it took some time, because you know what? The prefab mode, it only goes to 100, and this thing is 2 kilometers long, which is 2,000 meters. Now we can see we have a height of 2,303. So you might wonder, how long is that in Marauders? And I could bring out the Maruler. Maybe we will measure this missile with the Maruler later, but in any case, that's what I tried to do. However, I just realized that I haven't even tried to reverse that value. Oh no, now the cramps are coming in here. Okay, nice. So, that launched finally, okay. It's gonna be very interesting to see. Oh no, they launch instantly. Okay, good. This is not the solution. I'm a bit happy this is not the solution, because if it was, my later, well, things would have been futile. A really weird thing you can do, however, to reach altitude fast, I realized, is that the cluster missiles, they spawn kind of halfway up. So if you launch a missile and then immediately launch a cluster missile, you can like make it be almost teleported a little bit above it. Really weird. So you can make it reach like really high altitudes really fast. If you basically just have empty shells that teleport themselves up like tick tick tick, they will work, because the carried missile won't spawn inside the current missile. It will basically spawn like the middle of the new missile will basically spawn-ish at the tip of the missile it was launched from, almost. So that makes it so that we can use the cluster system to teleport missiles higher up into space, and also possibly teleport them towards the enemy. If we would point this to an enemy and launch a cluster missile that launches a missile, it would just instantly reach a little bit further, which could be pretty useful actually when we're talking about 2-kilometer poles. It's of course exponential a little bit when we have big lengths like this, but I think like if you have a 500-meter stick pointing towards the enemy and you can just get instantly 250 meters closer, that's pretty useful. Now, I don't think it will be practical in reality because defending that stick will be pretty hard, but fun fact is what I'm trying to say. So we're gonna spawn a new stronghold, and the really annoying thing with this is that our stronghold, we are basically pointing towards it with our missiles wherever they are now. Oh no, I think I lost us. Okay. So we're just pointing them forwards like this. I'm not really sure. We're gonna find out the exact angle. Or I think already did, but we're gonna check that out. What the exact angle might be for them to actually reach. So we're gonna spawn the stronghold there. Get it a decent way.
Engaging now.
And we're then going to go into this menu and turn on allow fire, basically. Oh no. Yeah, so we have a little issue here with this thing. I think it's like turned the wrong way. Oh no. So we're going to turrets, 0 rotation speed. Can you like fire? Okay, whatever. We're just going to point and shoot. Finally. Okay. Hopefully it will know what to do. Can you like... It refuses. It plain out refuses. There we go. I had to aim upwards. And we got the missile away. And it just basically instantly goes there, which is nice. Now I feel we have a little bit of a weird curvature. But I'm sure it's fine. We have a couple of 1,000 meters to catch up. Specifically, oh, only 5,000. This will be pretty hard. Because the missile is 2,000, we're like halfway there, almost with the length of ourselves. And since we have a couple of clusters, yeah, we're basically gonna reach that if we were pointing at it and we spawned sequentially each portion. Well. Also, what's the altitude? We build here. Oh no. 2,000. And up here. This is when the missile's middle reaches a little bit further down. Like this point. No, a little bit further down. This, okay, 300 meters more. 200 meters more. This point. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, it will spawn the carry on thing. And now the turning thrusters activate. So like you can see this is working pretty well. Only that it spawns the missiles prematurely. We obviously need a steeper angle for them to actually carry it to a reasonable altitude before releasing its carry-on payload. But you can see this thing, like it's actually insane. I had to do so much math to calculate how this would even work. Yeah, but you can see this thing is able to reach about 90 degrees. So we can basically make this thing point towards the enemy in air and then release its payload. You can see it uses so much fuel. It has so much turning thrusters. Actually, the next missile this thing carries is so much smaller because it burns up so much energy to turn it. Yeah. And of course the turning thrusters work in space, which we're basically at now. Fins won't work very well here. But anyways, if we check out this missile that is going to be launched from this, which is this one, we have turning thrusters here, not too many you might think, and turning thrusters here. But if you check here the turning thruster fuel, we have this much turning thruster fuel per second. So I had to use a calculator to calculate how long we could thrust and how far we can reach with 1.8 degrees per second. So this is of course the same in space as it's in air. If we have fins, it will not be moving very much agile at all in space actually. But in any case, turning thrusters does. And I calculated so we have 0.8 degrees for 80 seconds and that it can utilize this fuel. And of course, yeah, it works pretty well. That's all I'm saying. And it's pretty cool. And it took some math to make it actually turn those 90 degrees and not get out of fuel beforehand. So we had to use a calculator since we're not given this value in game. But anyways, this all is wrongly configured, so next iteration. Here we have it, the glorious 2-kilometer missile, which is on a turret, which I actually got. I actually got it here in the special section. 2-kilometer 4-stage missile. Yeah, I have some nice decorative things here on it. Yeah, so we're gonna try it out. I just have simple logs to keep track of the color. The green log is launched first. We have a lot of fins on this thing. I realized that we want some maneuverability when we are flying before we go to any next stage. And this is like the turning thruster stage. So this is the carefully calculated little thing. And it's supposed to launch this thing, and it does. And somehow it seems to skip over that or the payload, which is pretty annoying. So I don't know if there is a limit on how many stages you can have it, or if it's just this blueprint that's confused or whatever. Because I made sure that the, you can see here, the container length required 1556 properly fits in this 1558. So we're sure we should fit, but yeah, I don't know. This also means that the range, I made this so we know where this thing actually ends. Yeah. Anyways, the range is pretty far. So we're just going to spawn a stronghold a good bit away, like 10,000 kilometers or something. It's probably reasonable. The really annoying thing is that the local weapon controller's max range is like 5,000 meters. So yeah, if we're gonna use this as a functional system, we basically need to make it bread launched or something. And I don't know if we can detect things that are further away than this, but whatever. All right. Even though we are in an angle, the launch is still pretty fast and efficient from the launch pad. I don't feel it's quite... I don't know if it's quite the same, but it generally feels pretty fast a longer way. I think that as long as it is underwater in some portion, the added buoyancy actually helps to make it launch. So as you can see here, as soon as the thruster kicks in, it goes so much slower, which is pretty ironic, but really fun. And it takes forever to even get anywhere, but well. So this is the end of the missile. But in any case, we shouldn't be like the game is simply not really built for launching stuff that's this long, because 2,000 meter, like 2 kilometer missiles isn't a good idea. Let's like, not to spoil anything, but 2 kilometer missiles is simply not a good idea. The game isn't built for it. So if you didn't figure that out already, which you probably should have, since this is like the next movie about the project, which which has, yeah, it's taken some time. I've had to sharpen my scientific sciences or whatever. At least I have to dedust my calculator. Isn't that colorful and nice? Anyways, it now slowly ascends, and oh god. Okay, the new camera is sometimes a little bit annoying. And as you can see here, if we build here, we are at like 1,100 meters. So we're not close to the max range, which will give us issues and cause a premature ejection of that payload there. So that's good. Gmodism, that sounds really dirty, considering that. Never mind. Long missiles it is. The green one has... I think it's gonna die soon. We're gonna be replaced by the really agile one very soon. I'm just gonna make sure... Yeah, I'm not controlling anything. Good. Oh, and there we have it. You can see it spawned like almost halfway there. Not quite the middle of it to the tip, as I said. No, not really. I wonder if it matters where the controller is set. I kind of feel like I want to check the position of the controller. We might want to see if we can teleport missiles if the controller is first or the ejector is first. Let's move the ejector on the pink one to the backmost part of the missile, and let's move the controller of this thing, of the green one, to the front. The funny thing is that you can see here, they are shooting at the green one because that's the largest, but it's basically dead now. Now the turning thrusters are, of course, trying to turn towards the target here pretty well. Yeah, and they get activated, and we launch. Oh, this is the blue one. Oh, this is the payload. Oh man, come on. Oh, is it gonna miss? Is it seriously gonna miss? I think it, yeah. That's disappointing, to say the least. Stop the epic music. This is extremely not epic. It's like in the front 10% of the missile already. So moving the cluster controller a little bit like that probably won't do very much. So if we check to the pink one, we of course have the ejector thing. Let's see where this is. Extension, extension, extension. And the ejector is then here in the front. What if the ejector then is in the back? So we're gonna have a fuel tank here, and we're gonna have a cluster ejector back here. So it's gonna be very interesting. Oops, cluster ejector, to see if this changes anything. All right then. Oh, and if you want to use the ballast tanks instead of fuel tanks, of course you need to use free internal space used as fuel, if that wasn't self-explanatory. Okay, now we're 6,000 meters away. So if we add a stronghold another 5,000 meters away, we should be pretty far away, right?
Engaging now.
All right. Launch. It's like looking at colorful logs. How interesting is this not? Yeah, they are launching all right, but it takes time. Watching paint dry. They're just so silly long. How can you take this seriously? It's like, but it's also like a doomsday weapon. You have to remember that if this thing hits, if it does, it carries so much incendiary that it will probably burn down any design, any in-game design, to the ground. No questions asked, just gone. So yeah, it is a scary weapon. It's just, you know, kind of slow. And if you need a reminder, like the top speed of this thing is like 12 meters per second. If you build a ship and it has a speed of 12 meters per second, it's considered slow, like a really sad speed for a warship. Yeah. Well, it's going away. So now I'm a little bit curious to see, where will the pink rod spawn? How have we found out a way to make the missiles teleport to the target in some kind of way? Because if we have, I may think that we have the potential to do like an instant strike weapon of some kind that just is like a missile pole that basically extends instantly towards the enemy. Basically like a punch. It can be called a one-punch missile. Man, the stronghold is getting uncomfortably close. Stop moving. Just stop moving. Man, I should have turned that off long ago. Alright then. Can our 4 missile salvages? I think it may be too close. I think it spawned at the same length, right? That didn't change anything. Now it's basically the same. And we're just too close. Oh, and there is the payload. Well, yeah. Yeah, so it's a little bit problematic to have a weapon that's kind of defeated by a big fortress, like slowly floating towards you. But this fortress isn't exactly slowly floating towards us. It's actually pretty fast. A lot of people don't realize this, but it moves at 30 meters per second, which is a pretty decent battle speed. Like, it has over that speed, so it moves in a reasonable rate. So, yeah. It's a little bit like you come with a big lance, and instead of a horseman enemy, you would expect you're meeting a sneaky thing with a knife just appearing between you and your hands. What are you gonna do with your long stick? It's gonna be very hard. That's like the situation we're facing here. But hopefully the launches are a little bit more spread out now. And it skips over the light blue one. I don't know why, because it should fit. And it should fit the dark blue one inside. But it just skips over it. And, you know, I'm glad it doesn't skip over the payload at least. Because the dark blue one is the payload, if I recall correctly. In any case, we should now be getting the next part of the missile. So it's like 90 seconds almost. It has an 80-second lifetime, I think. I'm not sure exactly when it launches, but around at this time, the pink one should really spawn. I try to tune it as best I can. But I think it gets a little bit of a low angle. And it takes, I don't know why, because the, if I recall correctly, the turning thrusters are actually set up to work instantly. But it kind of doesn't. So we have to wait a few seconds. It may be, but I actually don't think I set them up with a 10-second delay. So they should be instant, but the turning thrusters take a little bit time to activate. But then again, it might be in the settings too. But I'm pretty sure they are actually set up to activate immediately. Because the forward ones, like we see, when this thing... Oh, it is possible that it is remote guided, yeah? And we're like... And the AI may not be able to see it, right? It may be just that. I'm actually not completely certain. We're just gonna keep that. Because I wanna check here, I wanna check... Oh! It's underwater. It's completely blind. Oh, of course it is. Man, that's such a amateur mistake. Alright. So, we are locking on here.
Engaging now.
Making sure we are on here. Yeah, so that explains a lot why we had some maneuverability issues in this particular little episode. Alright then. I'm a little bit worried that its defenses will shoot down the missile. That will be so sad. Hey look, this is pretty cool. You can see it like instantly reacts. It looks like it because it's so fast. Since it's so long, the emotions get so extreme. Well, oh my god, it actually didn't reach it. Man. Okay, so I made the most intelligent solution ever. Put one of my turrets on top of a stick. So now we can hopefully enjoy a proper launch. Yeah. I'll check back with you in some, I don't know, 5 minutes or whatever it takes for this thing to launch. It's not 5 minutes, it's only, I don't know, it's a couple of seconds. I kind of forgot the current value, so I thought that why not check? 180 seconds, so not 5 minutes, 3 minutes to be exact, we can enjoy the next part of the missile being detached. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to enjoy the freedom point. Yay, 3, 2, 1. We have a real missile. Yay. Oh, and this is probably a smart idea. Then we are like 2,000 meters closer to the target. Look at that. Yeah, you might think they're watching a little bit upwards. They can see shit from here, but you'd be wrong. They have a 90-degree field of view, whatever you may think. Very good optics. Pink part has been launched. And it's on target. Look at it. It's so maneuverable. It just faces that enemy. Bam. Almost. Oh, I think they're colliding now, the missiles. It's a little bit funny thing, the missiles actually collided with each other in air. Now, they look like they're a bit thicker than they are, but that's because of the mimics. They only have a 3 times 3 meter core. So they're pretty thin, even though there would be huge missiles. So now you can see it has escaped that one, so it is now locked on and ready to continue towards the stronghold. Oh, and now we have the payload missile being launched as well. Let's hope it has good target here now. I also hope it will reach there in time. So I think since this one, the stronghold actually has a bit faster movement speeds, I'm thinking we can turn it on so that it may meet the missile halfway. Remember that this has a max speed of, I think it's still kind of like, this is a little bit faster. The blue one is faster because it's not as long, but it's still like 15 meters per second or something like this. So it's still less than half speed of the stronghold, which is absolutely stupid. So yeah, big missiles like this is completely unpractical, and I'm starting to be really worried that we won't even reach the stronghold. But the funny thing is, the longer we make the missile, the less variable the range is. Like, you can't go too far because of, like, it takes so much fuel to go too far that there is really a soft cap. Of course, it's stupid to make missiles this long. It's not a good idea. And if you make them, yeah, and if you make them too close to the target, well, they're just so unmaneuverable, and yeah, they just suck very much, basically. Okay. This is gonna be very interesting. Come on, please don't despawn. I'll be so sad if this blue missile despawns before reach. It has a 160-second lifetime, I think. Come on. Impact, please. No! Are you kidding me? No way! Oh. No. No. Well, we have to launch again, obviously. We have to have at least one hit. We can't do this without the hit. It is now free and detached. Yay. Oh my. Well, this looks pretty cinematic, at least. I'll give it that. So here we have... it's being blocked a little bit here. Okay, it needs to speed past it to be free. Okay. Because I hope the AI has a target here. Wait. Maybe it lost the target. Okay, I'm gonna use my remote control ability here a little bit to make sure we're actually hitting the target. Okay. We're on the maneuverable one here, so the blue one, which is gonna spawn, is gonna be a little less maneuverable. I think it's gonna spawn pretty soon here. Oh, there it is. Oh my. This is... We're like have to carefully... This is like a wire-guided missile. Except it's super manual. That's pretty fun. Like, a lot of the wire-guided missiles is like literally a guy with some strings behind, pulling the strings, like literally. Alright. I wanted to get a better angle. Come on. Yes! Alright, so here we have the super scary ones. Oh, look at this fire! Okay, we have a proper barbecue here. We're up in 1 million fire damage, no problem at all. Your average 1 million fire damage, oh my god, this is so much. 2 million. We passed 3 million fire damage. Wow. This thing is completely obliterated. It is now despawning. Dead. The stronghold is dead. 1 missile. Dead. Let's not discuss how much this missile costs, because it has an insane cost. Yeah, it does. Sad to say. Let's spawn the Meg or something. So I'm pretty sure the Megalodon is just gonna be a little bit too fast for comfort. So we'll have to... gonna make sure that I can actually aim at it. Good, okay, well, I guess it'd have to reach there first. Very unscientific, but I'm thinking we should spawn a Marauder here in the air. The Marauder measuring stick, because that is very handy. Hopefully it doesn't mess with anything. Alright, so doing a rough estimate, anything but metric, am I right? We can see that I think one of these missiles, if I'm gonna eyeball it, kind of depends which angle we have. Yeah, so if we're gonna eyeball it, I'd suspect... So this is the obvious 14. It goes up to 14 Marauders. This is 10 Marauders. So if we have kind of ish 10... Can it be like 20 Marauders long or something? Nah, I think it's a little bit longer because it comes in an angle here. Well, let's say around about 25 Marauders long, probably, is the missile, most likely. Most likely. Well, now we know. The funny thing is, the Marauder, it's kind of in space, so I actually think the Marauder will stay here very peacefully. Yeah, I think it might... Yeah, 25-ish Marauders long. If you want to measure things in Marauders, you can easily download this thing, by the way, from the workshop. I put it up there. And it has a calculator. So it calculates everything in Marauders if you input the values here. I have a little breadboard thing that does the calculations here. So if you want to take a look at that, it can be fun. I don't know. Yeah, we have a clear lock on here. Oh, that's so many interceptors. They still fire though, so we might... Hopefully we won't be shot down. We have a lot of health. I hope this thing will be able to shoot down the Megalodon though. Like, I hope it will be able to take it out with one shot. Kinda evil to attack it from behind with one of these long boys. But it's easier to hit that way, I think, too, because it's less... like, it has a less chance to bounce off, maybe? I think it matters that much. This flame is absolutely insane, and it should burn through it anyways. So I don't think it changes that much. Okay. Oh no. Ooh, I feel we need to... Come on here. No. Are you kidding? Oh, thankfully it actually hit. Okay, good. The Hesh didn't do very much, but the fire damage is ticking up pretty well. You can see a lot of this heavy armor. It actually... Look at that. Intensity 40. It keeps its intensity because if it would be wood, ironically, the intensity would actually go down because it kind of gets diluted. 40, look at that. 5 million. We're up in 5 million fire. 6 million fire damage. Damn, this is absolutely crazy. These missiles are not joking around. They're probably not gonna hit, but if they do, it ain't much you can do. Look at it. It's just burning through this Marauder. No, not the Marauder. What the hell? This is a Megalodon. It's like a brick of alloy and heavy armor, which is actually surprisingly well protected against fire. Heavy armor is hard to burn, but I think when we come with a big thing like this, we also bring our own oxidizer. So it's just gonna continue, and it gets back fuel too from the heavy armor and the alloy. Yeah. And they're not lowering its intensity. In fact, it has even increased the intensity. Thanks to all of that heavy armor, the intensity is now worse than it was before. Wow. It makes me so happy to see a heavy armor brick burn like this. Very nice. 16 million fire damage. You can see the game don't anticipate this type of damage in one go. So the entire number, 17, 18 million, won't even fit on screen. Man, this is brutal. What should we burn? We need something to burn. I was thinking it would be fun to burn down the Gimle, but it is roughly the same cost as the Megalodon, and it's a lot more burny than the Megalodon. It's just gonna burn down and die. I don't think it will be very exciting. However, I have some really big ships in my folder. Oh man, I think this is where the Honor Baguette could have a really good opportunity to not get hit. It's so long and thin, this missile would probably miss it. Anyways, it will probably burn down the Ultra Yamato as well, because it's only 5 million. We might want to test that actually. But there are larger things to test. Yeah, what the hell. I want to see if it can burn down the Ultra Yamato, because it's twice as large. So I'm not sure it can burn down it completely. Well, we'll have to check. To answer the age-old question, how much does it take to reload this? Well, it takes a measly 100... Is that 134-ish thousand? Only? Well, of course not only, because it's gonna spawn this one too, so it's... And this is 116, so 200... Huh. And this is only under 100,000. So it's gonna cost like under 500,000 to fire one of these missiles. If they hit, it's like instant, it's like guaranteed death. Might not be as bad. Well, there is this thing. This little platform costs 22 million. So yeah, for the cost of this, we can basically, for the cost of this little missile launcher, unarmored and everything, how many Ultra Yamatos can we get? Well, it's more than 4, like almost 5, I think. So yeah, from a material standpoint, it's not even fair. I hope you didn't think it was. Wait, what is this? I don't know. Maybe we played this game a little bit too long and stuff has glitched out. I'm gonna remove this thing. Whoops. I like how we have this missile, and we have like a secret ghost missile of some kind also being launched. Like a mystery thing. It's a little bit worrying. Well, pink thing is now away. The long pink. Are you going towards the target there, really? I think they see the target. Oh, I think it's just locked by its pal. It's gonna be free in any second. It's liberated. Okay. Does it need help turning or something? Well, not sure. I guess we'll see in a moment. I don't remember if I already said this from the last part of the recording, but of course, huge thanks to all of the commissioned officers in the Army of Gmodism and everyone in the Ecclesiarchy of Gmodism for supporting the channel monthly. It really helps a lot. And yeah, I just wanted to say that there. I think I already said it. If I didn't, I apologize, but it helps a lot. And I'm working on updating the file for the officers as well. I have uploaded the images on the website, so they're hosted there, so that's super nice. And now I'm going to start working on making the homepage look okay. Many projects on my free time. But yeah, that's nice. Man, this is so insane. Look at this. This looks quite cinematic, does it not? All right then. I hope this remote control junker will be able to do anything here. Okay, the missile is closing in at the menacing, like 15 meters per second. I'll be so sad if it despawns. Man, I should probably make this thing have a longer lifetime. It's only a single module, it's not gonna affect the performance in any bad way. Okay. And you know what? In this payload, I actually think that it may not be completely full with incendiary. I think it could possibly be even worse. We'll have to check that later. I'm not sure. I may have fixed that already, but man. Okay. The Yamato is pretty thick. It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit. This looks scary. It's like poking in the eye phobia, basically. Look at it. Arrgh. Yeah, okay. I slow down the time, by the way, if you're wondering what's happened here. Because I wanna see what happens with these heat fragments. The heat fragments are pretty insane. Okay. Bam. I want to see how far they can penetrate. Because I put a lot of health and stuff inside of them. They don't even go through the turret completely. That is a little bit disappointing. Alright then. And here we have like this nuclear blast of a fire spreading. Yeah, let's keep up. Turn up the heat. The funny thing here is that I believe that you can see the intensity is actually being lowered here because we're burning wood. So it has like wood has like this weird unintended secondary protection feature. And also it's a little bit weird. When you're above water, you can only see the fire above water. And when you're underwater, you can only see the fire underwater. So there's a lot of fire here. We're already up in 5 million damage. So we have a lot of fires at different places. Yeah, pretty brutal, this thing. I wonder if it's gonna burn the Yamato in 2 halves. This like doomsday weapon. Talk about Greek fire. This thing burns underwater, no problem at all. But it's so much wood, the intensity is gonna be lowered and lowered. Is there any possibility that the fire is gonna die out before it actually... I'm so curious. I'm so curious. We have a lot of fuel left here. Got a lot of oxidizer too. Got a good bit of fuel here too. Oh, yeah, it's gonna burn in half. It's gonna burn in half, definitely. Look at that. That's brutal. Ooh. Wow. Okay, I'm glad we tested it against the Yamato too, because she's such a big thing. It's like so meaty with so many like hollow spaces. It's like the hollowness of the Yamato is like Gimlo on steroids, but most of it is underwater, which should be great protection against something like this. Obviously, I thought about that, so I included a lot of oxidizer. Look at it. We'll have to witness this. This infernal bisection. If we want to sound smart. I don't think it's very smart. I think it's maybe the wrong term actually, but it sounds like it would work. Okay. Yamato burns in 2 parts. This is not anything you'll see every day, right? I'll be so disappointed if the fire somehow doesn't reach there and burn it in 2 halves. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is it not gonna burn in 2 halves? Oh man, I'm so disappointed. That's it? And the repair bots have started. No way. Okay. So the Yamato is at 81% health. Yeah, she took that A-okay. You know, not a big deal. Just a big fire. What's all the fuss about? Yeah, so I just want to see, like, well, I'm gonna have some explosions here and like blow this part off, because I want to see if it was close of being fatal, or if the Yamato is just so spread out that this little thing basically didn't matter. 75%, yeah, we're okay, you know, not a big deal. Not a big deal. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We're having some floatiness issues, but I'd say we're pretty much a-okay. Oh no, we're not. Health below 80% and sinking. Alright. So in most likability, this missile will kill the Yamato. It just hit at a place that was pretty, you know, lucky for the Yamato, because obviously, if the fire reaches the AI compartment, the Yamato only has 1, you know, it's gonna be gone. So, as I said, I wanted to test this little missile against something big. This is one of the largest things I have in my folder. This is the Saturnus class super battleship, which is a Titan for sure, made by Zuzu, and it's really big. It costs 18 million. You can see the dimensions of this thing. It's 600 meter long, so it's not that insane, but it's like packed with heavy armor, tight spaces, defenses, and just a lot of firepower. It has insane amounts of interceptors, so I'm not sure. Like, I turned off fire, but I'm not sure we can honestly get there. So that's a little bit worrying. We may have already fired. Okay, we apparently we launched. Okay, we're already at stage 2. Isn't that nice? I love it when missiles try to do something on their own as well. So we have several million health per missiles, of course. So they're gonna be pretty hard to shoot down. But like the Saturnus just relies on the tactic of just overwhelm with like a lot of missiles. It's like pretty laggy because of this. It's pretty insane when it just keeps spamming interceptors to an insane amount. It's like really, it has a lot of missiles. It has a lot of interceptors too. So If something is able to kill these 2-kilometer missiles with just insane amounts of interceptors, my best bet would be the Saturnus in my folder at least. The Saturnus is on the workshop too, so if you want to have something really big. It lags a lot though. It's built in a pretty lag way, so make sure you don't crash your computer. If you can't run the Turtle Lord, you can't run this, obviously. Because this is like several times larger. If the Gimli lags for you, this will lag more. A lot more. Fortunately, we can handle it here, and I turned off the weapons in general there, so hopefully we'll be able to... Oh, I'm a little bit worried though. We have... The blue one is a reload, right? It's ready to fire, okay, good. So let's just check it out here. Cluster extension. Oh yeah, I actually have a lot of extra incendiary warheads. Yeah, we have a lot... Damn, we actually have a lot more firepower to put in this thing. Wow, okay. Good to know. Oh my. Oh my. It may be possible... Look how many interceptors. Where are they coming from anyways? Alright. This one may die. We may not get through all of these interceptors. It's like you can see it constantly... It's still spamming them. Thankfully, we're at least using medium ones. If this was small, the lag of these missiles would be like ×4. Can you like... Oops. Can you like... target this thing? Oh. It's looking kind of bad. The Saturnus movement should be turned off. But it goes forward anyways. It kind of slowed down in a very worrying fashion. I think it may actually be shot down. I'm not sure we can get through these. When you shoot at missile and kind of apply damage to them, not only the payload is getting lowered, but the speed and the maneuverability, everything gets lower. So you can see that this missile is just starting to move sluggish, and that basically symbolizes that its health is probably decreased by a good bit. It's not gonna hit in any case, that's for certain. I'm thinking it's probably a good idea to boost up this incendiary value a little bit here. So I'm putting some max intensity incendiary warheads with some 20% oxidizer in. Kind of the same recipe we had for the other of them, and just filling up some more space basically. And there we have it. A little bit more incendiary damage. Isn't that quite nice? Right, we got a remote guidance and we got all of that just, but I'm thinking perhaps we should have like a proximity fuse or something for near misses. I'm not sure how this is gonna help us. It's just 10 meters, but yeah, might as well. Look at this, we haven't even launched. And we're just being spammed by interceptors. They're really long-range interceptors. And yeah, we have, what is this? 7 million, is it? E plus 07. I always get confused about this. I don't like it. It's 69, I think it's 7 million-ish. I don't think it's 70 million. Or is it? No, I think it's 7 million. Something. Anyways. Long time since I looked at these type of numbers. It's being spammed anyways. Well, so that's why I spawned another one, so hopefully we can have one missile reach it. Would be nice. Look at, it's like... That is so many of them. That's so many. We are free. If we somehow manage to get out of this weird angle, It's really good we have the pink staged missile, because otherwise it's gonna be very, very hard. By the way, this is a pretty cool feature with the cluster missiles, that you can see we're being targeted here, this missile, but this is this missile. The next missile that is being carried by this green one, it's not being affected by the damage it takes here. So it will spawn fresh because it's essentially teleported from the structure here. So it will be a new, fresh thing, which is very nice. So you can kind of circumvent some of the active defenses by using interceptors like that. But by the looks of it, it looks like we're gonna have a hard time reaching the target here because it's just too far away. It's just the bearing is just too off. The really interesting thing here with the Saturnus is that while it is a ship that has movement turned off, I actually think that some of its propellers that goes forwards, they're just set to passive full speed ahead always. So it doesn't matter what you think it's gonna go. Oh, and I think it may be a little bit breadboard control too. That might also be a reason. Perhaps we should just spawn a new one. I think I may be a little bit impatient, but I'm spawning several of them and hope that one will reach. Because frankly, I have pretty low hopes for these blue guys by now. We're gonna help it out, slowing down a little bit by just forcibly removing some azipods, and it will take, well, a little time for it to be replaced. That means we can slow it down, so perhaps the missiles has some opportunity to actually reach it. Going 40 meters per second, our missiles is popping at a average measly speed of, what is it, 15 per like 50 meters per second, so that's you know, not exactly fast. Oh no. The game is like at half speed, and I'm thinking this is pretty slow already. Yeah, I think this is gonna be the last explosive test. I do have high hopes for this slideshow though, I must say. Too early to say that. This trajectory isn't exactly looking great. I honestly think if we just insta-repair the Saturnus class a little bit here, it should pick up speed and go forwards, right? And that should help the missiles hit. This is so jank. Don't make 2 kilometer long missiles. It's just not, the game is just not meant to do that. Woe and behold, the pink rods from the sky. Yeah, what more can we say? Ugh, that just popped in there. That's a bit scary. Look, the lamps are engaging this thing. Oh no. I'm not sure. I'm glad we have a proximity fuse. Maybe it will reach eventually. But probably not. This ain't looking great. Come on. It's like locked in the sky here. It's like our only hopes is if the Saturnus like runs into it. Aww. Just turn. Oh, we have a contester. Look at that. It looks like it has a pretty decent trajectory. The only thing that could happen now is probably that it gets stuck in its friend, being pinned. Look, it's like actually been pinned by the force of all of these interceptors impacting, like pins it in the sky. Isn't that completely insane? Oh, here we can see the tentacles for the proximity views. That's fun. Well, that's so fun. I think it actually is being held in the air like this. Okay, We have an impact. We finally... Finally, okay. This is gonna be very exciting. So, the initial damage from the blast there is of course a little bit lackluster. But the fire damage could be pretty hardcore. We have a intensity. If I remember correctly, the Saturnus class is like a lot of heavy armor. I don't expect this intensity to go down. We got in a hold here. And so this is almost a bit fair, because the launcher system is about 22 million and the Saturnus class is like 18 million. So they're like close in cost. But this is like an armor slab. That's where most of the budget is. And the well, the cluster missile is just a missile. That's all it is. Oh, look at that. They are engaging. We have reached 4 million damage. Still have a good bit of fuel left. Is that 6 million or 600,000? Only 600,000 fuel, right? A lot of the fire is of course under. I suspect that we're having some scary fire here in the missile department. I think the internal components are gonna burn pretty quickly when they catch fire. Armor obviously burns less fast. Scary fire. We have surpassed 8 million. And we have a lot of fuel still. It honestly looks like the Saturnus is gonna burn. Like this side of it is gonna burn off. We might even have a secondary missile coming in here, but it actually looks like it's kept locked. Oh, it got destroyed. Either that or it despawned, but I think it got destroyed. So I'm glad I spawned a lot of them, because otherwise we wouldn't have had any visible hit. The intensity should slowly increase. Yeah, 40.1. We have surpassed 13 million fire damage now. And we have a lot more to give. I wonder if it actually has the capability of burn down the entire Saturnus class. That would be absolutely insane, because this is one of the largest ships I have in my folders. This is really big. Really expensive too. It's not one of the biggest ones. It actually isn't. But it's one of the absolutely most expensive ones. What the biggest ones? I think Kovrax is responsible for many of them. We have a papier-mâché diff gun design type of builds. This turret is up in flames here. Looks like the laser system here. I think it's the lambs. They are picking up some fire too. We're almost at 20 million fire damage. Looks like is the fire dying down here, or is it just not that we can render all of it? No, it still burns. It can be hard to see this oxidizer fire. Yeah, it actually looks like it's gonna burn off the side here, right? No, it's a good way. It's a good way more. I'm not sure it will reach that far. At this point, we can probably let it be active or whatever. We can actually let it take care of all of the cluster of doom platforms. It can do its thing in the background while we're watching it burn. This is like a super meaty thing though. We wouldn't expect, like, the Saturnus class, when you look on a ship like this, it's mostly underwater. It's like a lot of metal, which is one of the best fire blockers. Oh, I don't know, my game may have crashed. No. Yeah, one of the best fire blockers. And a lot of heavy armor, of course. A great flame retardant. So, unless we're bringing a lot of incendiary. So just looking at it, it's not obvious that this is incendiary is the best thing against a ship like this, because it really isn't. The thing is, with incendiary, there isn't really a cap for the damage. The fire gets diminished and gets weaker when it's really, really big, but it doesn't like completely die off. Look at that. So fire kind of decreases a lot when we're having a lot of fires all over the place. So it doesn't, like, it kind of suffocates each other a little bit. But explosive has a big cap. Frag has a big cap because we can't render too many fragments either. EMP obviously is too easy to defend against like that. And yeah, no other damage type works this well at this scale. Man, Clusters of Doom is getting pretty hardcore destroyed there. We've passed 33 million fire damage. This is a crazy missile. I'm kind of surprised how long this fire has been burning here. Game speed is like at half speed, so it's burning a little bit in slow motion too. Oh, look at this thin turret cap. Turret caps are scary. I don't do them. Thick neck turrets for the win. Alright. Man, did we crash again? No. 35 million. Saturnus class is down to 98%. Oh, look at that. So much superstructure and stuff has been burned off here. It's like the initial layer of the fire. It goes pretty slowly now. Most of the fire underwater seems to be kind of snuffed out by now, which is of course very reasonable. Let us check. Oh, look at that. So basically what happened is that the oxidizer ran out. So that's an issue. So when we don't have oxidizer, we of course can only really burn above the water surface. So the water is now basically putting out the fire that tries to go underwater, which is not great for our burniness, so to say. So we're closing in on 50 million fire damage. Blazing big here. I hope we reached 50 million. I never seen so much fire damage. The fuel for the fire, it's actually pretty much a lot of it is left. The intensity is 43 now. We have like 700,000. I think all of this heavy armor above surface has added so much fuel to the fire. I was thinking, man, this fire is gonna stop soon, and it's like, no, it's not stopping anytime soon. It's just started. Scary stuff. We have passed 50 million damage now, by the way. Well, we're slowly watching this thing burn away. Poor Saturnus class, she's very sad burning like this, I think. Well, everything for science. Ooh, I think the fire may have died down now. Yeah, that's it. Fire party is over. The Saturnus class for one of these missiles went down to 83%. And burning underwater is not always vital. You may want to burn everything above water, because if stuff above water is gone, the ship is likely to be listed as 80% health and sinking, which will of course make it sink and die pretty fast. Good to know. Well, that's completely mental. Well, fun checking that out, and I'm not sure in what world these types of missiles will be usable in any way, anyhow. I think we're gonna remove some stuff here. It just lags too much. Yeah. Anyways, I think we've done enough testing for one day.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this little testing video, and if you did, you should definitely leave a like, and I'll be seeing you next time. We obviously need to do some more missile testings and stuff like that. Well, cool to see in any case, so I'll see you next time. This is your host, Eric of Gmodism, and I'm signing out.